home and had a little lunch and sit down for a minute. And I was like, oh, I better go. And it zapped me this morning.
It'll zap you, then it's like easy to fall, you know. Sometimes like depends like if I'm depends like if it's
We got 100%. No, it's better than nothing. So we have. So I have.
We've done so much and it's gotten hotter every day. This week, and I just
had one.
and I told
So she had 3 babies. So you know, it's like we're in the garage.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I just
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I
do.
always have so many.
We
But I love
have, so my one that disappeared, we rescued her and she just wanted to be outside. She was an inside outside. She usually came in every night. Before we could get her fixed, she had a litter. So we have one from that litter. It was inside outside. But then I have one that my princess where Andrew's mom used to breed. So she did British short hair and Persians. Well, she combined them because of the nose, you know, the flat nose. And so I mean, those cats were super popular. They're like dogs. And so that's my Luna, and she's the princess. She stays inside.
Oh,
So
yeah.
she was a gift.
Well, and actually, we raised, whenever I was growing up, we raised Siamese.
Yeah.
We had a male and a female. And we have people who would bring their female. Well, so now we have a white cat, and so in Dilate, so he was like one of the other barns. The mama had it, and so he's blue-eyed and has the mannerisms and looks. I mean, he's white.
Yeah, that's my Luna. She pretty.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Yeah, and they just
Yeah.
are such great cats, and she is just, I mean, she's so well behaved. She's
been
not,
fixed, so.
she has, yeah, because I just
Well, in
didn't.
town, you have to know. Yeah, for us, it's a matter. And as I say, ours disappeared. Do they run off?
The owls
Does something get them?
Yeah.
We have foxes, and we know foxes will take care of them.
Yeah.
Because we've seen that happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I'm like,
so
you know what?
anyway.
That's a good way of saying that. It's like, because like there's so much out there to do, but nobody wants to.
Yeah. Well, I just have to give my first life.
This guy, but I'm gonna tell you, he's 9 months behind because
He's doing it right, he's doing it himself.
and so I've been trying some more. And he's like, well, we're just over behind. Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be pretty much November before I get to it. I get it. I said, I'm
So are you okay with that?
I don't think that's
Okay.
I can appreciate that. At least you noticed that. Oh, look here, we have a little treat. Who's this?
You just, she is taking so good care of you.
Do you need a cord?
No.
Well, yeah, she seemed okay. Like I said, I got back with her on her.
I'm turning this to use again, Stuart has them, you know, just receipt.
Unless you're by yourself, you don't have to. I didn't need to run you. I know I got sweating down there.
That's it. It was all about that.
Okay. I see that it's 4 o'clock and our meeting is scheduled to begin at 4, and I welcome everyone that's here today. Thank you for being here. And hope you have a good meeting and we could survive this hot weather. First on the agenda, I call the meeting to order, and then I will need a motion to approve the agenda as it's been presented.
So move.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Jolynn, do we have any citizen comments?
No, we don't.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you also have in your packet the minutes from our June 24th meeting. And hopefully you've had a chance to review those minutes. And if they look as they should, we need a motion and a second to approve them.
I motion we move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next is our warrant that Keith is going to present. Is that correct? And I
Yes.
think he is on Zoom.
He is.
Welcome, Keith.
You're muted.
Well, now can you hear me?
There, now we can hear you.
Thank you. Good. Well, we'll start with the first order of the day, the warrant for the month of June 2021, the final day of fiscal year, final month of fiscal year 21. Disbursements by the college were $2,821,049 for accounts payable, $841,011 in payroll, $158,490 in income and payroll taxes on that payroll. Financial aid and refunds of $548,866. Utilities for the month were $64,819. Credit card processing fees of $4,158 and bank charges of $15 for total disbursements during the month of June of $4,438,508.
Okay, thank you, Keith. We will need a motion and a second to approve that warrant as Keith presented it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Is Mr. Parker going to?
You know, he is,
Okay.
but why don't I just give a precursor here
Okay,
to
fine.
Trustee Parker? So, you know, last time you as a board heard Trustee Parker present the committee's comments about renaming our district. And so he called me and said, would you like me to work on the resolution? And I said, absolutely. And so what you see behind tab 6, which is a resolution for change of name of district, was written by Richard and then a few edits and then reviewed by legal. And so this is where we are. And so Richard, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Yeah, we have a resolution for a change in name of the district from the Junior College District of Sedalia, Missouri to the Community College District of Mid-Missouri. As we talked about it in the committee report, two driving factors. The first is that in the 1960s, when the district was organized, state statutes referred to junior colleges, and we had junior colleges. During the 1990s, state statutes were changed, and now all references to two-year institutions are to community colleges. And so a change from junior college district to community college will just put us in line with what the statutes now are, and would also reflect the evolving and changing mission of two-year institutions from the 1960s up to the present time, where we do more workforce development, where we have not so much, well, we still have transfer programs, but we also offer a number of programs that are terminal degree programs. And that community college is more descriptive. The other part, moving from Sedalia, Missouri to of mid-Missouri, that prior to 1960s, there were a few junior colleges, and they were all organized in connection with a single school district. In the 1960s, the legislature created the ability for multiple school districts to join together to form a single junior college district. And that's the authorization under which State Fair was organized as the Junior College District of Sedalia. At that time, the vision was for Sedalia and the adjoining school districts. That was, I think, reading the book about the history of the formation of the college, it's pretty clear that the interest was in establishing a junior college for Sedalia in the area. Well, but things have evolved and changed in the last 50 years. When the district was formed, it was formed with a single campus in Sedalia. We now have campuses at Boonville, Clinton, Whiteman Air Force Base, Lake of the Ozarks, Eldon. Some campuses, sites aren't even within the boundaries of the district. Matter of fact, most of the satellite campuses are. Also, there's been a change in focus through the Missouri among junior college, among two-year colleges and the Missouri Department of Education, that we now talk about service areas, and that our mission, and the mission is not seen just for the district, but for an entire service area. And the feeling of our committee was that we needed a name. Our name should reflect that evolving mission for the district. And so we're suggesting, came up with a suggestion of the Community College District of Mid-Missouri, because we think that is descriptive, and it also hints that we have a broader mission, the broader mission that we have. So I'd like to introduce the resolution for first reading today. Statute requires that there be at least there be some time after the resolution is made, that a notice be published in a newspaper of the of the fact that the motion for change of name has been filed. And then to have the motion, have this motion taken up for vote at our August meeting. So with that being said, I introduce the motion, resolution.
Okay.
Okay, and Randy, I might just clarify, in your packet, you have both the resolution for change of name of district, but today, so as a first read, and then today you would actually be, we're asking you to approve the resolution for publication of notice of the proposed change of name of the district. And so basically, we're stating that the change of the name of the district would change from Junior College District of Sedalia, Missouri, but doing business as State Fair Community College, to the Community College District of Mid-Missouri, doing business as State Fair Community College. And when Kate reviewed this, her one issue was just to make sure that we follow the process, as Richard has described and outlined, of publication. And so we will be sure to do that. She said she believed the Mid-Missouri met the criteria of the statute and a description of the region to be served. So.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So to clarify, as Dr. Anderson said, I also need to move the adoption of the resolution for publication of notice, since it will involve an expenditure of funds. I think we need to act on that, and would request, if the motion is seconded, that we do vote today for the publication.
Okay, thank you, Richard. And as we've all discussed and talked about this previously, the resolution that is presented in item number 6, we need a motion and a second on that for the name change and for it to be published. And then we will vote on 26th again for that. So I need a motion and a second.
I had the motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
Second both if you need it for both.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
One matter to clarify, especially for those folks looking in, is that state statute requires that the resolution for name change be passed by unanimous vote of the Board of Trustees, that it's not a majority vote, it's a unanimous vote.
Interesting. Thanks for all the history and hard work. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, item number 7, we go back to Keith. Hello again.
So I think you'll be seeing me for a while now. Next on the agenda is approval of next or last approval of several items relating to expenses for the coming year. First of these is our look at the loan and lease payments for fiscal year 22. They're since fiscal 21, no loan or lease payments have dropped off, but one has been added. New this year would be the loan payment on the Olin Howard Workforce Innovation Center of the $240,950 you see there. Otherwise, on here there are $2,060,816 in loan and/or lease payments we make each fiscal year. They are for the Heckert Science Allied Health certificates of participation you see there, the Train Energy Equipment lease purchase agreement, the HP equipment lease purchase agreement. The Department of Economic Development was part of the Energy Innovation Project several years ago. And then our rent for the various campuses, including Lake Ozarks, Clinton, the Science Hall in Boonville, Eldon, and then our leases on our copiers and printers that we have and mailing equipment. Like I said, those loan lease payments totaled $2,060,816. I'd like your approval to make those payments.
Okay, thank you, Keith. We'll need a motion and a second on that. And as he mentioned, the only new one that we have not seen before in previous years is the new Workforce Innovation Center. So Do I hear a motion?
I'll motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay. Keith, item number 8.
Next item is our accounts receivable write-off. There's also a page in the agenda that can give you some context here. I don't know if you have it in front of you or not, but I'll go over what the write-off is and I'll give you some context on this. The write-off this year is going to be $492,944 in accounts receivable. That is, is higher than I was hoping for when we originally looked at this. However, in retrospect, I don't know, maybe I should have expected it. This write-off is for debts that came due in fiscal year 20. So we go a year back and what hasn't been paid in that past year. Understand at that year was when COVID hit. We saw payments slow down on all of our student payments at that point in time. Also, we made a decision not to say we meaning the college, made a decision not to send some of our debt to collections, given the situation with COVID, with some of the job losses, things like that. We felt it wasn't appropriate to be sending community college debt to collections at that point in time. So we are probably about, I would say I'm probably about 150,000 more than I had hoped for in this. I want to refer you to the page you see in here if you can't see it, but what I do also is show you what percent of the total charges that were made for that year. So if we're writing off 492,944, that's about 2.83% of the charges incurred. You can see the prior years, and while it's higher than most prior years, is actually not the highest. 2013 was actually higher as a percent, and it's not horribly out of line given the expenses there. I also want to give you some perspective on credit card designation. Understand that when a student comes to State Fair Community College, we give credit to everybody. There's no credit checks run. There is no asking if they can pay or can't pay. We want them, we have access for them. So we are dealing with, we're not doing any screening there. National credit card debt, as reported by Federal Reserve, you can see for the years 2019, 2020 is anywhere from 3.5%, 3.7% of their outstanding debt. So we're actually better than a group of folks who screen and do a very aggressive attempts to collect. So while it's higher than I like, I understand why it's there. We have started sending debt to collection again. So I suspect this number will go down going forward. But anyway, I need your recommendation to authorize me to write off the 492,944 for fiscal year 21. And any questions about this I can answer.
Okay. And as Keith mentioned, this is standard procedure with student loan debt that happens each year. If there aren't any questions, I need a motion and a second.
I'll make that motion.
Or second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, Keith, insurance.
Insurance. So next on the agenda is payment for our commercial insurance coverage. I also gave you a detail sheet for that in the agenda so that you can understand the various insurance that we do cover. Our agent is Insurance Benefits Groups out of Sedalia, Missouri. They did shop our insurance around this year, and I will tell you that literally not everybody declined to even bid. For a variety of reasons. One, I think COVID kind of scared everybody a little bit on bidding on things. And second, when they looked at the rates, the comment was they felt these were competitive and they would not be able to, probably not be able to meet them as well. When you look at, the actual, I'm going to ask you for approval for $403,628 here in a moment. That's up about 8.7% from the prior year. The increase is primarily in our property coverage. and primarily in one area, and that is the premium that we're being charged for wind and hail damage. That one premium itself increased by roughly 40,000 this year. And it increased across the board pretty much throughout Missouri. Apparently, we've had in the state some fairly significant wind and hail damage claims over the past few years, and the adjusters have taken that into account. So that's really the increase you'll see there, including our commercial insurance, everything from our property insurance to our workers' comp insurance, to our legal liability insurance, everything we do that protects the college as a whole. So that's what the 403,628 covers. So before I go to the resolution, are there any questions on anything here?
Keith, I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Regarding the wind and hail.
Yes.
Wind and hail. So there's nothing we need to do maintenance wise, like those who have bad roofs on their own. It's just part of doing business in this state. They've raised the rates.
Just part of the claim experience they've had throughout the state by the insurance companies, not specific to us or any, and our insurance agent told us that literally it's been across the board. In fact, she felt ours was one of the least severe of the ones she had seen.
So that in turn would say that we do have good maintenance and good upkeep in our buildings.
Right.
Okay,
it's literally hail damage is what we're referring to.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I'd like to be recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the commercial insurance renewal premium payment to Insurance and Benefits Group for $403,628 for FY 2022. This is an increase, as I said, of 8.67% over the prior year, and it has been accounted for in the FY 22 budget.
Okay, thank you, Keith. Do I hear a motion?
I have a motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
The next item is athletic insurance. The other insurance we carry as a college is our athletic insurance. Our athletic insurance, so you all know, is secondary to the athlete's primary insurance. So our insurance is a secondary carrier in that. We have two coverages here, and you'll see on the sheet I gave you. One is what we consider our base athletic accident coverage, and it is for any incidents up to $25,000 in claims. Again, that's on a secondary basis. So essentially, all of our claims fall in that category, and that premium you'll see is $34,596. The other insurance we cover is our catastrophic athletic insurance, and those are for catastrophic events that are over 25,000, and we have a limit there of $5 million, and that includes up to death of should that horrible event ever happen. So we have coverage for the basic, and once you understand, we have coverage for the catastrophic as well. Catastrophic coverage is $11,828. Our premium is up this year not because rates are up, but because we've added men's and women's track and field, men's and women's cross country. We've added esports and shooting sports. So those additional athletes are what's adding to our premium this year on that as well. So before I go to the motion, any questions there? So I'd like to recommend that the Board of Trustees approve actually the athletic insurance renewal premium payment to Arthur J. Gallagher, First Agency Branch, for $46,424 for FY 22. This is an increase of 10.5% over the prior year, and is accounted for in the FY 22 budget.
okay, thank you, Keith. Do I hear a motion to accept that proposal?
I motion we move.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Dr. Anderson.
All right. Well, I would like to begin this evening by just expressing our condolences to Dr. Port's family. I just want to highlight, I know we sent you what we had written about Dr. Port, but he was the fourth, according to our history book, the fourth individual hired here as an employee at State Fair Community College. Obviously was in the beginning, an instrumental person who helped form our institution. After he left State Fair Community College, he went on to work at Indian Hills Community College. He also was president at Three Rivers Community College before coming back here and serving as the third president of State Fair Community College. He was here and instrumental when the Davis Multipurpose Center was constructed, and also I think as the Dom was constructed as well. So 2 really significant construction projects were completed under his leadership. So we just express condolences to his wife Donna and their families. They left here, I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago. And so, but I just want to say that, you know, our college was well served by Dr. Port, and we express our sympathy to the family. At this time, I would ask Justin O'Neill to come up, our facilities director. And, you know, Richard and others, Tim, you asked about, you know, the roofs and the maintenance. You know,
He's all over it.
he's all over it. He for sure is. So I just want to compliment Justin because they've had a lot of maintenance projects this summer that are the standard usual things, but you know, a lot of other things are going on. There's talk around town about, you know, the new building going up, and there's excitement in the air. So Justin's going to bring you up to speed on both the Olin Howard Workforce Innovation Center and then also the campus improvement projects. So Justin, thank you.
So the Olin Howard Workforce Innovation Center, all of our major steel is up, and the iron workers have worked really hard. We did a very quick ceremony when they were putting that last piece of steel up. It was kind of a last minute, we tried to put that together, but iron workers typically do that where they're topping the building, and they put the tree on top and they put a flag on top, and so we were kind of celebrating that last piece of major steel going up. It's been a tradition in a lot of iron workers and steel workers for many, many years, kind of showing that, you know, it was done safely. We had no major injuries and that sort of thing. So they continue to work after that. There's lots of roof purlins and girts and stuff to put in, squaring up the building, and they're still kind of finishing all of those things, but we've got other things going on underneath at the same time. The block walls, the CMU block walls, masonry is being completed. So that those walls are both for the classroom that serves as a safe room that we kind of discussed a little bit last month, as well as just some block walls that are between the shops, between the classrooms and the shops, and just provides the rigidity to the building for longevity and the use and the items that they're, you know, doing in those spaces. So that's going on at the same time. The roof deck is getting prepared for that safe room. So there was some steel that had to go on top of it, and they will be pouring concrete then on top of that. So it'll be really an encapsulated room that day to day it'll look like a classroom, and most people won't know the difference, but it will serve as a shelter in case of severe weather. The insulation and the roof panels will be the next major thing that'll start going up, and you'll start seeing the roof panels are here. They're sitting here on site. The insulation started coming in yesterday, so it's both sitting in shipping containers that we have over here, and we actually transferred some of our shipping containers that we were moving classroom furniture back into the buildings and shifted those and the bills for those over to the construction contractor, and so those have kind of changed hands, but there's a little less delivery fee involved with that. So that worked out, timed out really well. We're also actually using the automotive building, a couple of bays over there to kind of work on just the process of that material coming in, and then it's going to go right back out onto the roof. So that'll be the next big thing over the course of the next month. I'll be able to tell you next month how far they got along with that. So it'll really, once we get that roof under, the building under roof, then we're really going to start taking off. So then we'll start seeing side panels going on, and then interior finish will work. So currently the building is about roughly 4 weeks behind where we originally scheduled to be completed in the end of February. We're kind of looking at the end of March at the moment. We haven't solidified that. The contractor hasn't asked officially for that extension yet because the building was delayed getting here, and sometimes we can make up some of that time after the building is under roof. So then there's less worry about weather days and things like that. So they haven't come back and asked. We're just kind of keeping an eye on that. So I'm just updating you guys so you kind of know where we're at. But we still have plenty of time. We can't move things out of the existing facilities into that building until the middle of May, end of May. when the semesters are done that spring. So timing wise, we're still doing really well. We kind of have a little bit of a buffer built in there. The sidewalk plazas that you can see going up in front of Hopkins and what we call the central sidewalk or the Yater sidewalk, and then over on the east side of Fielding. The east side of Fielding, the concrete is poured, the brick pavers are in, the new light poles are up, and they are working. They're really, really nice at night. If you drive by, they're really pretty. The next piece will be, we've got some benches on order and some flowering containers that will serve both as barricades and as attractive pieces to the area. So fielding will be kind of completed and finished up first. We got a little asphalt that's coming. There's a delay in the asphalt plant. They had some equipment failure or something, so we were a little delayed getting some asphalt over there. But we'll finish that one up. The ones up front, they've been laying brick pavers today, and in the next couple of weeks, those should be wrapped up as well. The front sign, if you didn't notice in the last day or two, we've trimmed some bushes, trimmed some hedges. The sign is much more visible, and the letters have been repainted so that it's a nice, vibrant sign coming in, and then we can make sure that people can see exactly where we're at and as they're passing by. We will work on adding some annual flowers and things like that closer to the start of the semester, because we know we'll have to water them. We don't want to plant them right now. We'll plant them right before the students get here to add some beautification. We did receive word from the solid waste district that we were awarded our grant for our recycling trailer and containers, that we will pay a matching fee out of our annual budget. But just so you guys know, we're kind of increasing the amount of recycling and things that we're doing on campus, including both these shops that are moving into the new building and their existing operations. Our operations on facilities taking care of the buildings, we're recycling those things. And then with the contractor, we've actually been working with them to get them set up so that they can have containers and things like that. So we have large amounts of cardboard and things like that. We're not putting it directly in the landfill. We are getting it recycled and not paying for that fee to be disposed of that way. The last little piece I wanted to tell you, along with just our normal summer projects that we're doing, the Lamb House is still slated to the demolition contract. Proposals are being sent out here shortly. We'll get those back, and we're planning on doing that under the operating budget. I don't think it'll cost any more than that. We'll have to bring it back to you or anything like that. We do try to plan on getting that down before the beginning of classes at the end of August. But before that, we have contacted the Sedalia Fire Department, Sedalia Police Department, the Sheriff's Office, and the County Fire Department, and all are interested in using the facility for some training opportunities. So no live fire, no liability type issues, but if you see some activity over there, if you see the SWAT truck pulling up over there at 5 o'clock Monday morning, it is planned, it is on purpose. It is to give them an opportunity to use a house that is completely empty and give them a real life scenario of some training. So we're trying to give back to the community that supports us too. So before we do take that down. So, any questions about any of those projects?
Sounds like you're busy.
We are just a little bit.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
And trustees, you may or may not know that I serve on the Sedalia Pettis County Economic Development Board of Directors. And so they meet quarterly. I attend those meetings, and it's always a good group to be with. Jessica Craig is doing a phenomenal job, and we're glad that she's leading that effort. But today, Wireco announced that they were doing a $15 million expansion in Pettis County. So I was asked to speak one of the speakers at that, mainly because Wireco has used our learning force in a tremendous way. They have Missouri One Start training grants, and they've just done a ton of training. And so compliments to the learning force, Amy Jackson, and the crew that works with that. And currently, we are working with them on Rope Making 101. Sounds interesting, doesn't it? But it's a training program that incorporates visual work instructions and some new software that they have. They're hoping to take that program and replicate it at other Wireco facilities. Governor Parson was there, so I did have a chance to just briefly thank him. He said, before we went out in front of the group, he said, you got some money, didn't you? So I said, yeah, Governor, thank you very much. So did have a chance to thank him publicly for the $2 million that was in House Bill 19. As I've told all of you, before, but we are very glad to get that. I know you know that our governor is very focused on workforce development and infrastructure, and he continues that focus. So it was good to have him here in Sedalia today. Tomorrow, I was asked to be a part of a online program by Thomas P. Miller. We have used Dawn Music to help us write some grants. She was previously employed by the Missouri Community College Association. While we didn't get the grant that she helped us write for, it was a rural healthcare grant. We did use what Rhonda and Don and team had put together to write for the Gehrig cells, which we have been awarded for our surgical tech program. So that work that was done with Don and the Thomas P. Miller team has paid off, and we did get to use that. But it's a collaborative approach to support high quality programming called braided funding. So that program is going to be an online program. Anyone can register. So I mean, honest to goodness, if you wanted to register, you could. The Thomas P. Miller team are going to be there, and then they're very interested in our ability to share the state fair story of all of the pieces that have come together to help fund the Olin Howard Workforce Innovation Center. And there's a lot of pieces that have been put together for the funding of that facility. On August 2nd, I'm going to be meeting with the acting interim president at Lincoln University. His name is John Mosley. He has reached out to our MCCA contact there, but we have a good relationship with Erica Leonard. And Erica reached out and said, I think we ought to have a lunch date. So he's new. I haven't met him yet. And then I get to have the fun part and then turn over to Dr. Bates. Any work that we may say, okay, let's go create. But I'm really hopeful. He is interested in maybe replicating the Mizzou MAC program, which is with Moberly Area Community College. Dr. Bates has already had some engagement with their provost about connecting us with their ag program, but maybe this will be a little bit bigger, better opportunity. We'll see. Also wanted to let you know that our theater program had 2 of their 2021 productions are being considered for performance at the Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival, which would be in January of 2022. Our theater department continues always to shine, and their performances have been selected in the past, and our students have been able to go. These would be, I think, the performances would be shown because they were taped. So it's Oedipus and First Date, and we'll see how those turn out. The Upward Bound program had another successful summer. They brought students to campus and then had a end of year activity trip to Disney World, and I guess that went well. Are they back yet?
I don't think they're back.
Well, we haven't heard that it's not gone well.
Haven't got any calls.
Knock on something. Dr. Bates gets those calls. So all is well there. And it was exciting to have, we have an Upward Bound program with Smith Cotton High School, but we also have one at the lake with Eldon and Camdenton High Schools. And so there were students from both of those, all 3 of those schools here for the summer program. We have some NJCAA All Academic Awards. We were named the first team awards must maintain a 4.0 grade point average, and student athletes earning second team honors must maintain a 3.8 to 3.99, and third team 3.6 to 3.75. So the women's soccer team received several individual awards. The women's softball program earned the NJCAA Academic Team Award for the 2nd year in a row. And this is really a good accomplishment for our Lady Roadrunners. And we compliment head coach Lindsay Talbot on that effort, and our students as well. And then the men's baseball program earned NJCAA Academic Team Award. And this was the first time, so we had 2 programs that have had that prestigious honor. So compliments to our entire athletic program, but especially our athletic director, Darren Paneer, he and Dr. Bates, who oversee that. So we emphasize always that they are student athletes. And so good news there. We have statewide professional development appointments, so I want to compliment these individuals. Mindy Holum is our early childhood program coordinator, and she was accepted as a board member for the Missouri Association for the Education of Young Children. Kara Barth Fagan is, as education coordinator, is beginning a 2-year term as president of the Missouri Association of Colleges for Teacher Education. And then Polly Grapes has been selected to serve on the National Association of College Stores Foundation Board, and that will be a 3-year term. And there were, Polly specifically, there were 35 applicants. Polly was one of 2 selected, so, and she's also been reappointed to the National Association of College Stores Board. So just a lot of great work that our employees are doing and being recognized outside of their work here at the college. And Polly's excited because that college store, her service there will help inform how our store operates and how we can be more effective for students. And then finally, I want to tell you that the both College Council and the committee that's working, our HR Advisory Committee, have been working on a remote flexible work policy. We plan to bring you that in August as a first read, and then also share that for the first time with our employees at Convocation for them to hear about it and start to have a response to that. And then Convocation is August 18th. It begins in the Stoffaker building with breakfast. You are welcome to attend the actual program. Again, August 18th, 7:30 for breakfast. We will then move into the theater for a program that we anticipate will end by 11. So it's a chance to have updates, introduce new people, and have information shared. And then we have scheduled, I think all of you, thank you for responding to Jolynn. Our Board of Trustees retreat will be September 16th at Lake of the Ozarks. 9:30 to 3 is the tentative time we're setting for that. And then finally, you have a card in front of you about joining ACCT in sunny San Diego. And as part of that conference, national conference, Aleutian has asked if I would co-host an event that they bring folks in to hear about Aleutian's services. And so I am planning to help co-host, which just means we get to brag about State Fair Community College and tell our story again. But if you are interested, please let Jolynn know. I think it's good. You know, we've planned for, I built into the budget that half of the trustees could attend this national conference and half the legislative national conference. So if you are interested, just let Jolynn know. And that's my report.
Thank you. Lots of good information, good positive. We appreciate that very much. All right, we're going to go back to Keith, and he's going to give us some financial information. Are you available, Keith?
I'm available.
Okay, thank you.
First up, I want to inform the board of a purchase that a purchase of $10,000, $25,000 for our policy. We'll be expending $16,191 for 18 Apple iMacs for our Career and Technical Center for their graphics department. Those have a life of about 5 years. And then the state will match an additional amount for us, but our expenditure will be $16,191. So we'll be getting those folks set up with the latest and greatest in graphics. The first report I want to go over is the investment report, which is pretty straightforward right now. You'll see as I-1, we have a cash balance of $15,257,764 as of June 30th, 2021 in Central Bank and Trust. That was there for 2 reasons. One, we were earning 2.25% on that. And secondly, we are still looking at what our cash needs are. We are currently that rate was a promotional rate that we received when we moved our account there. That rate has expired. We're now looking at how much and where to place some of our funds. Understand that essentially we can place them in time deposits or demand deposits. Demand deposits are running about 0.03% return, and time deposit CDs are running about 0.3%. So there's the return on the investment is going to be fairly minimal this year. And so what we'll do is we'll put that, probably stagger it in 6-month, 12-month, 18-month, 2-year CDs. But I'll let you know that at the next investment report, as we look at also what our cash needs may be with the Olin Center, with a few other things to make sure we have cash on hand should we need it. And also with this is a pledged security, since all investments we have are secured, and Shoji Central has more than sufficient security pledged against those right now. And their trust department is looking on where to invest that money right now per our policy. Next on the report is it's really the state financial report as of June 30th, which is the end of the fiscal year. So we can look at how the fiscal year for our operating budget, our unrestricted budget worked vis-a-vis what we had expected. On this report this year, for this month, in addition to showing how June ended up and our full year ended up, I added the fiscal year 2022 budget to give you some context on kind of how things look versus where this year ended. The real thing to point out here, as we had seen coming for a while, is our revenues ended up being 5% over what we had projected, primarily driven by the reinstatement of state funding. That was really the primary reason for the increase in revenues. Other than that, our revenues were fairly close to where we expected them to be. Our expenditures were very, very much in line with where we thought they would be. We expected to expend around 24.6, and we spent around 24.6. So with the increase in revenues, instead of having a budgeted net revenue to expenses of about 1.9, almost 2, we actually netted out to about 3.3, which is actually better than the prior 2 years in terms of net of that. And again, it was due to two things. One is the college and everybody at the college, adhering to their budgets, being very conscientious about how we spend our money. Again, when we were going into fiscal 21, we were not sure what was going to happen with it. So everybody, credit to everybody for helping there. And then because the state did reinstate some of their funding that was not expected, we ended up with having a higher revenue in that case. So long story short, we was, from a fiscal standpoint, it was a very sound year. And I think that, I'm ready for any questions, but that would be really the end of the report, and answer any questions any of you may have.
Okay. This is for information only. Does anyone have any questions of Keith that you might ask? It looks better than maybe we expected at one point in time, with early COVID. Thank you very much.
Keith, this will be what percent of annual budget do we have in reserves?
Well, the annual budget, if you look at the end of the year, it's a good number. I mean, of that 15 we're showing right now, there's probably, I would say, there's probably maybe 5 of that I'd consider to be encumbered. So I'd say, this is a rough number, so we probably have about 10 million in true reserves right now. If you think our annual budget's in the neighborhood of 50 million total, but operating budget's about 32. So it depends on which budget you want to compare it to. But, of total expenditures, our total budget, which is 50 million, we're about 20% as a good working number right now.
And our board policy, or our target percentage is what?
It's 15 to 30.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just want to compliment, Keith said it, but our employees and when you think about an operating budget and how close we came, our departments do not overspend their budgets. They track their budgets and they're very diligent. So just a big compliment. We do build in some reserves and now we're going to be able to do that in a little bit better way. But just compliment Keith for the budgeting, but really all of the leadership, everybody in getting a budget that was as accurate as this is when you've got, a multi-million-dollar budget. And so I just feel really good about where we are. Some of you in the past, when you've asked about what our cash reserves is, we had to say between 7 and 8 million. And so, we've improved that significantly.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, next we have a board discussion opportunity. If anyone has anything that they'd like to bring up prior to going into closed session. I'm not aware of any comments or anything, but this is certainly an opportunity if anyone has something they'd like to know about or hear about.
More of a comment if I can. The golf tournament Monday, I've heard a lot of good things around town. Coach Talbot, AD Paneer, whole staff has done a great job. So I just want to make sure they get called after that golf
I
tournament
thought
Monday.
maybe you were going to say that you came up.
No, not at all.
Top of the.
No, I just want to make sure they get called out on that because I've heard a lot of good things around town from them being out and about, so.
Okay, great.
I think Dr. Bates might be golfing. I'm out of town, but yeah. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Okay. At this point, we need to have a request to go into closed session, and the Board of Trustees will move into Yater 148 to have that discussion. And then basically we'll come back in here to adjourn. So we do need a motion, and Jolynn will do a roll call vote.
Which ones are we going in for?
All three.
All three? Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Randy Eden,
Yes.
Tim Carr,
Yes.
Justin Hubbs,
Yes.
Nick Lestrada,
Yes.
Richard Parker,
Yes.
Patty Wood.
Yes.
Hey, we will move not very far.
I'll take my favorite. Oh, no. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, thank you.
Looks like we never see each other.
Julian, you need me to stay around or?
I'm gonna share. I've never had to do it.
Okay.
I mean, I can. Brad's always just taking forever. I walked out of the room. But you can.
It's this side, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, is he?